Alright guys, this is finally the gel tests for our Lehigh Defense Maximum Expansion 194 grains and our Maker Rex 200 grains bullets. Finally got to shoot it, and I've actually already shot it, but I need to reshoot this opening because things did not really go as planned. Yeah, especially during the Lehigh portion, it went comically very wrong. And, you know, not with the bullet, but with my setup and my equipment and all of that sort of crap. So, the accuracy portion I had talked about on this, where I wanted to, you know, shoot some groups, we don't have enough bullets. So it's going to be all gel. Gel's at 100 yards. This is, so yeah, let's just get to it, and I'll cut out a lot of stuff, and it'll be basically just the gel tests, hopefully. I need to make shorter videos anyway, right? So hopefully this is going to be one of those. Enjoy! Okay guys, the day has finally arrived. We are going to take our 194 grain Lehigh Defense Maximum Expansion loads and our 200 grain Maker Rex Subsonic. Yep, there we go. And shoot them into some gel. We're going to do it at 100 yards, and I've run into a little bit of a problem. I've had delay after delay of making this video. So I made this stuff, it's probably been 2 months now. Well, it started to mold. At first I thought it was just surface mold, no big deal, whatever, scrape it off and we're going to be fine. But as I get it out in the sun, I'm seeing spots all the way throughout it. Try to give you guys an up close look at it here, but it may not show up very well. I'm kind of in the shade because I didn't want to get this guy hot. I want to get it back in the fridge as soon as possible here. So if you haven't already seen, we did previous videos where we worked up some loads for these guys, and we've got 10 rounds of each bullet for each gun. So I want to do a little bit of, well, for one thing, we want to make sure we're sighted in because, you know, these blocks are only, what, like 5 inches by 5 inches-ish, something like that. So they're pretty small, so we need to be sighted in so we can hit the darn thing. And also just kind of want to get some accuracy information one more time, just to, you know, shoot them against one another. So that's the plan. We're going to do all this at 100 yards. I really want to hit this guy at 100 yards. If it performs terribly at 100, we'll back it in closer until we start seeing better performance and better expansion. But hopefully we're going to see good stuff at 100 yards. Okay, one more thing I did want to mention before we get started, just in case I forget to mention it later. I did want to go over our loads. So in the for the 16-inch gun, with the Lehigh Defense, we're shooting 9.1 grains of Winchester 296. These are CCI number 41 primers, Lake City converted brass that we converted, and yep, 9.1 grains of Winchester 296. This is an overall length of 2.180. I went by what they recommended on their website. The Lehigh for the 8.5-inch gun, we're shooting accurate 1680, and it's 11.2 grains. And same overall length of 2.180. Same brass, same primer, same everything. The Maker for the 16-inch barrel, we're shooting 10.3 grains of accurate 1680. This one, overall length of 2.1 inches. I'm thinking with, like I said, I've got some more. I want to try some longer overall lengths. But, yep, for now we're shooting 10.3 grains of accurate 1680. Same primer, same case as the Lehighs. And for the 8.5-inch gun, we're shooting 8.6 grains of Winchester 296. 2.1 overall length, same brass, same primer. Alright, so now I'm going to get situated and we'll get started. Okay, so the light up here is super goofy, but it's good down there and that's what matters. First up, we're going to shoot our Maker Rex bullets in this guy. This is 8.6 grains of Winchester 296. You know, 10 rounds isn't a lot, so basically all I want to do is check our zero, and then once we feel like we're hitting where we need to be, I want to switch over and start shooting the gel, because if we don't have enough for accuracy, that's no big deal. We did a whole video on accuracy, so that's not a big deal. It's mainly about the gel. I'm assuming we're going to be at least a couple minutes low already because we were sighted in for around 60, 70 yards before. So I'm going to go up about 2 minutes. And let's just see. Okay, here's our setup. Got it on a cheap folding table, but I've piled a bunch of cinder blocks and crap back there to just give the table more weight, make it less wobbly. I do have both blocks together here. I don't expect it to get into the second one. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't expect it will. So all right, let me hurry up and get back down there. We'll shoot. I do have them like, I do have the table tilted just slightly. I brought out a level. It is tilted just slightly downward to the left because I assume, you know, these slow bullets, by the time they get there, should be coming at a trajectory that's you know, a fair amount downward. So yeah, hopefully we can hit it, get a good idea of what's going on. So all right, let's stop gabbing and let's do it. All right, I think everything's in position, so let's see what happens. Target looks awful small. Oh, baby. Let's go see what happened. Looks like we hit our cinder block. Did you guys see where the bullet went? Man, look at that. It definitely tore up Jack to start out with, didn't it? Maybe my idea of having this thing tilting downward wasn't a good idea. Alright, so I've tilted the table down a little bit. But actually it looks like all that weight on the table is making it sag. Is that what the hell's going on here? I'm afraid it might be. Let's see where we're at. Alright, I'm going to try another one just like that. Alright, so I guess we are going to need both blocks to stop these things. Alright, let's pop one more down there and see what happens. Try and get it a little bit lower this time. Heard the cinder block pop again. I'm going to shoot one more just for the hell of it. Come on. There we go. That works. All right, let's see if we captured one of those guys. Hey, we caught one. Man, I am super impressed with the penetration we're seeing. Oh, look at this guy though. It's kind of what we were worried about. It just turned over a little bit on the side and tumbled. This guy, the one we did keep in gel the whole time, that's about 19 inches of this bare gelatin. I did not expect that much. I expected like, you know, 6, 8 inches maybe, something like that. Very, very impressive. Man, that's a beauty. Alright, so this has got me a little bit nervous, right? This guy right here. So what I want to do, I want to drop the front of this table even more. Yep, it's definitely tilted down a bit now. And I'm just, so that second block's already trash. I think what we're probably going to have to do is today's video, we're just going to stick with the SBR. These two blocks we'll just use for these, for the maker bullets. And then the other two blocks we'll use for the Lehigh Defense. And we'll save the 16-inch test for another day. But I want to pop a bunch more bullets into this thing and see if we get consistent expansion, or if we see more that seem to tumble like that. Alright, did we get any more keepers? Man, that is just shredded. Alright, these were our two from before. And I shot 4 more. Perfect. 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 And perfect. One that, you know, yeah, I'll tell you what, we'll clean these guys up a little bit and have a closer look. Alright, for homemade gel like this, that's a pretty consistent, about 19 inches is where they all seem to end up, you know, right in this area. So be interested to watch the footage on this guy, but man, there we go. The guy that didn't expand is full of plastic, and once I was removing the blocks, I noticed a hole in the table that I thought you know, one of these just clipped it or something, but as I was reviewing it, it goes in. You see a nice, you know, temporary cavity opening up, and it's kind of going downward, and then all of a sudden it just shoots upward and stops expanding. And I think that's exactly what happened. This guy was starting to expand, probably doing its job just fine. It hit that plastic, which bent that one pedal back inward, and it just stopped expanding. So I am not going to fault that bullet at all. All of the others are picture perfect. Just like I was hoping. Just incredible. Held together well. I can weigh them, but I mean, I don't even know if there's a point. This is 100% weight retention. None of them lost a thing. So, yep, that guy, not going to blame it at all. Very happy with this. And the, let me back out just a touch. I was really impressed by the consistency. Even with our moldy gel that might be a little bit janky. You know, they all were in that like 16 to 18, 19 inch range is where they all ended. At least the ones that, that stopped in the gel. So, pretty cool. So we had 2 that exited the gel, which, you know, are that guy, and then what was it, the first one we shot, which just barely went through the gel and went out the top. So it hit the block and bounced backwards. I haven't been able to find it yet, but I'm happy with the results. Very, very happy. Especially happy with the penetration. That's really cool. All right, let me stop gabbing and get some fresh blocks out there for Lehigh, here's what I think I'm going to do. Each bullet liked a different gun. This bullet shot much better in the 16-inch gun than it did in the 8.5-inch. So we shot it in its worst gun. So we'll do the same with the Lehigh. The Lehigh shot a lot better in the SBR, in the 8.5-inch SBR, than it did in the 16. So we're going to shoot those guys in the 16. And for any of you that are grumbling, you know, we matched velocity. So it's the same chunk of copper going down range at roughly 1,050 feet per second. Whether it's coming out of an 8.5 or a 16-inch barrel really shouldn't matter. But I want to go away. I want to give these guys the best chance to fail that I can, to be honest with you. If they're going to, you know, end up like that inside, I want to know it. But so far so good with the makers. So let me get resituated, get the 16-inch gun prepped, get some fresh blocks out, and we'll be ready to rock. Alright, so I fired my sight-in shots. This is 9.1 grains of Winchester 296 with the Lehigh Defense, 194 grain maximum expansion. Yeah, I went ahead and shot my sight-ins because those are boring. So let's just get straight to it. Let's see if we can hit this guy. That was a little bit high, and I could tell it just went straight through and hit the block. Let me try and see if I can get one lower. And another. Oh, out of ammo. Tell you what, let's run down there and see how those. All right, anything exciting? I see a bullet over here. Nicely expanded and kind of laid back. I think it, yeah, it's got some marks on it, so I think it popped the, yep, it exited about right here on this side. So, I'll tell you what, let me rearrange. Alright, we'll get there eventually. I need to load up. More ammo. So with the makers and with these, none of them have gone supersonic. So doing well. Alright, let's try to favor that left-hand side a little bit. That was high. That went straight into the block. Alright, so we knocked down the table. What a mess. Alright, I hope the camera caught something interesting, because the only thing in the gel so far is one pedal. So I don't know if these are, yeah, actually there's, you know, the back block was pretty much untouched, except for, like I said, there's one pedal at about right there. So I've swapped the blocks. We've set them on the ground here about 10 yards closer. So I'm just going to keep on shooting stuff at it until hopefully we get what we're looking for. I have recovered 2 bullets so far. They were both very well expanded. Looks like they went through, came out the top, and smacked the snot out of the cinder block. So let's hope for some more. I need to switch guns. These would be supersonic in this gun, and I don't want that. So, alright, I need to switch guns real quick. There we go, that's more like it. So we got one guy right about there, and another guy back over here. And it looks like we've got one that went all the way through. So that's pretty impressive. Here's the one that got caught in the gel. It did lose a pedal. Yep, it lost a pedal. but definitely expanding nicely and penetrating well. So all right, let me keep on going. I'll just shoot the rest of them at it. I didn't get the magazine all the way in. All right, so the Lehigh portion of this was certainly a fiasco, but I think gathered enough information to learn some things. First of which is that these are much more likely to shed petals. We didn't see that at all in the maker bullets, but these guys really seem to shed them. There's one straight out of the gel here. Yep, it shed a petal. And here's another one straight out of the gel. It's got all of its petals. Tell you one thing I've learned. This gel testing is not for me, at least not with this stuff. You know, with homemade gel. It's a pain in the butt, it's gross, it takes up room in your fridge, and I don't think I'm going to be doing a lot of this. But it was worth it here. And so as far as penetration, so we had multiple bullets that seemed to go all the way through with the maker. We did not see that with the, with the Lehigh here. Not the maker. Let me get a paper towel. Nasty and sticky and gross. Alright, let me zoom in on these bullets for you. So yep, we lost a few petals, and some of them were inside of the gel, so it wasn't, you know, hitting the cinder block and that sort of crap like some of them did. This was in the gel, some of them lost petals. I don't know if that's good or bad, but all of them that I recovered certainly expanded dramatically. And I guess the question would be, are they over expanding? Right, we didn't, the final diameter is definitely much smaller than the makers, which kind of mushroomed out and stayed that way. These seem to mushroom out and then fold over, which I'm not even necessarily saying that's bad. These have a really good track record, right? They've been around a while and lots of people have killed lots of animals with them, so they definitely get the job done. I'm glad that, like the fiasco that this one became didn't happen during the makers, because, you know, like I said, I've already bought 200 more of the makers. Those are really where I'm focusing my efforts. So the fact that we got a little bit better, more controlled test with those is good. But so a couple of them that did stop in the gel, they all went at least that 16, 18 inches, and, you know, some of them went farther. So they a little bit better penetration than the makers, and I think that's due to that, yep, just expanding more. Alright, anything else I need to talk about? I don't think so. One thing I would mention, just in case maybe somebody's watching this and doesn't realize, if you're not shooting suppressed, then you should be using like the 110 grain Barnes TAC TX, you know, supersonic, 2,500 feet per second or whatever. These are inferior in every way, right? These are a special case if you're shooting suppressed and you need to be quiet. You know, hunting at night or hunting in urban areas or whatever, that sort of thing. But just for a general hunting bullet, you don't want to take your unsuppressed gun and shoot subsonics in it just for the, you know, fun of it. Unless it's just a novelty thing, right? But just don't think that you're going to get superior performance with subsonics, I guess I should say. So, alright, I will leave you with that pretentious note. And, yep, I will see you guys next time.